Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the gentlelady from Indiana for yielding me the customary 30 minutes, and I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, the bills in this rule today are nothing more than a cheap distraction, another smokescreen from House Republicans desperate to change the subject. And I get why. After all, it was just 2 weeks ago that nearly every single Republican in this chamber voted for what may be the most shameful piece of legislation this body has produced in years, the GOP tax scam. Now, it's bad enough that it gives massive tax breaks to billionaires and wealthy donors, but it does that by literally taking food out of the mouths of hungry seniors and children and ripping health care away from more than 16 million Americans. In case this wasn't clear, Republicans are gutting Medicaid and even targeting Medicare, programs millions of families depend on, not because they have to, but because they want to. Now, I know my friends across the aisle hate to hear us say the truth out loud. It makes them uncomfortable because they know what they are doing is wrong, but that's just the cold, hard truth, Mr. Speaker. And in the process, they're adding trillions to the very national debt they love to complain about when it's politically convenient. That's also the cold, hard truth. Now, numbers don't lie. Look at the Congressional Budget Office analysis. Republicans' math does not add up. Again, this adds trillions to the debt. And now, because the backlash has been swift and deserved, Republicans are scrambling to do everything they can to sweep it under the rug and change the narrative. And that's what these bills are about. Political misdirection, not meaningful solutions. Now, let's be clear. 3 of the bills this week meddle in D.C.'s local governance. Not because there's some urgent crisis, but because Republicans want to score cheap political points and take power away from a local government they weren't elected to make decisions for. In fact, Republicans referred to the District of Columbia as, quote, property in last night's Rules Committee hearing. Property. I mean, who talks like that? I mean, I thought I was watching Gone with the Wind. This is so incredibly offensive. The people who live in D.C. are not your property. Their land is not your property. Their money is not yours. So keep your hands off it and keep your hands off them. Republicans, Mr. Speaker, are on a power trip. These bills either chase problems that don't exist or duplicate efforts already underway. That is not legislating. That's performative politics. And here's the real kicker. If my Republican colleagues were serious about public safety in D.C., as they claim, then the first thing they do is restore the $1 billion in cities' funding they slashed earlier this year. Now, I want to be clear, this is not federal money. We are literally talking about the city being able to spend their own money that D.C. residents have paid in taxes for the district. That money, taken from D.C.'s budget and paid by D.C. taxpayers, goes towards supporting public safety, social services, and critical infrastructure that residents and tourists alike rely on. Now, the Senate already passed the fix. The bill is ready for us to vote on, and even Donald Trump says he supports it. I can't believe it, but he says he supports it. So why is it that House Republicans here in the Congress are dragging their feet? I thought they did everything Trump directed them to do, Mr. Speaker. Why on this are they willing to stand strong against Trump, but when it comes to taking away health care and food assistance from their constituents, suddenly they have no backbone. They go along with Trump on that. Give me a damn break. The 4th bill this week makes formatting changes to the HALT Fentanyl Act, a bill that we've debated before. Now, let me be very clear. The fentanyl crisis is real, and it is deadly, and it demands serious action. But that action must be more than slogans and symbolism. You can't say you're serious about fighting fentanyl while slashing funding for mental health services, addiction treatment, and Medicaid. That's hypocrisy, and that's dangerous. But this is the Republican playbook. You pay lip service to real problems, undercut the solutions that actually work, and shovel more tax breaks to the ultra-wealthy. Rinse and repeat. Mr. Speaker, the American people deserve a hell of a lot better. They deserve better than a party taking away their health care in the middle of the night. America's hardworking moms and dads who may work multiple jobs but still not make enough to afford groceries under this administration, they deserve to know that they can rely on SNAP during rocky times so that their 7- and 8-year-old kids have something to eat. Seniors deserve to have full fridges and access to health care that they've paid into so they can live out their remaining years with dignity. And if they're paying their fair share in taxes, they deserve for billionaires and hedge fund managers and people who can afford to dump millions into political campaigns to pay their fair share too. People are tired of all these giveaways to multi-billionaires while hardworking middle-class families, while those struggling to get in the middle class, get screwed over. What we saw from Republicans in the last week of May, Mr. Speaker, is reprehensible. It is not what the American people deserve. We must do better, and I reserve my time.